4 glasses, same color, same grape, same promise on the shelf. Cabernet Sauvignon. And yet one of these can taste like cedar, graphite, and blackcurrant in a raincoat. One can taste like blackberry jam walking through a luxury hotel lobby. One can feel like Bordeaux got a passport, moved to South Africa, and started going to the gym. And one can smell like cassis, mint, red earth, ocean air, or sometimes all of the above. That is the trick with Cabernet Sauvignon. It is not just a grape. It is one of the world's best climate measuring devices. If you buy Cabernet by grape alone, you are basically buying a plane ticket by saying, "Earth, please." Technically accurate, not especially helpful. So today, 1 grape, 4 continents, 4 completely different wines. Bordeaux, Napa Valley, South Africa, and Australia. Cabernet Sauvignon is a natural cross between Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc, which is a beautifully weird family tree. One parent brings red wine structure and savory perfume. The other is a white grape, famous for acid and green aromatics. Their child becomes the global heavyweight champion of serious red wine. Cabernet has small berries, thick skins, plenty of color, plenty of tannin, and the ability to age. It also ripens late, which is both its superpower and its problem. Late ripening means Cabernet can build depth and structure, but the site has to finish the job. If the season is too cool, too shaded, or too timid, Cabernet can keep a green edge. And that green edge is the first key to why Cabernet changes so dramatically from place to place. Cabernet can carry compounds called methoxypyrazines, including IBMP. These can smell like green bell pepper, green pea, asparagus, leafy herbs, and fresh vegetation. This is not automatically bad. A little herbal lift can make Cabernet feel elegant, savory, and adult. Without it, some Cabernet becomes expensive purple furniture. But too much green character can taste underripe. Sunlight and ripening help shift the balance. Shaded clusters can retain more green pepper character. Better exposed, properly ripe clusters tend to move toward blackcurrant, cassis, plum, and darker fruit. Sunlight is not magic ripeness dust. Canopy, temperature, crop load, site, and harvest date all matter. But the useful idea is simple. Cabernet is extremely sensitive to ripeness, and ripeness is shaped by climate. Start in Bordeaux, where Cabernet's global reputation was built. Bordeaux is maritime, not guaranteed. Atlantic weather, rivers, gravel, rain, and vintage variation all matter. On the left bank, Cabernet loves well-drained gravel because it warms and drains, helping this late-ripening grape get across the finish line. Classic Bordeaux Cabernet gives blackcurrant, cedar, tobacco, graphite, firm tannin, and often a savory herbal line. This is Cabernet with shoulders, not Cabernet in a velvet tracksuit. And Bordeaux is usually blended. Cabernet Sauvignon brings the steel beam, tannin, depth, and ageability. Merlot brings flesh. Cabernet Franc brings perfume and nerve. Petit Verdot adds color, spice, and a base note. Bordeaux is Cabernet plus architecture. It is not trying to be the biggest wine in the room. It is trying to be the wine that can still stand up years later. Now move to Napa Valley and the dial changes. Napa has more reliable sunshine, warmer and drier growing conditions, and a culture that learned how to turn Cabernet into a luxury object. Not every Napa Cabernet is huge. There are restrained, detailed, mountain-grown examples. But the center of gravity is different from Bordeaux. Napa Cabernet often has riper black fruit, more plushness, more concentration, and more oak polish. Blackberry, cassis, dark cherry, cocoa, espresso, vanilla, cedar, mocha. Warmer sites build more sugar. More sugar gives yeast more material to turn into alcohol. That is why Napa Cabernet often trends richer and higher in alcohol than cooler maritime styles. Napa is also economics in a bottle. Land is expensive. Labor is expensive. Insurance is expensive. Barrels are expensive. The tasting room probably has lighting design. In 2026, the broader wine market is not effortless, but Napa's best producers still sit in a luxury lane. Napa Cabernet is climate, ambition, capital, and a very confident invoice. South Africa is where lazy Old World versus New World categories start to fall apart. In regions like Stellenbosch, Cabernet can get mountain influence, coastal influence, Mediterranean warmth, cooling winds, rocky soils, and a winemaking culture that can combine Bordeaux-like structure with New World fruit. The result can be dark fruit, cassis, cedar, graphite, fynbos, savory herbs, and firm tannin, but with a different energy than Bordeaux or Napa. It is not simply cheaper Bordeaux. That phrase should be retired and forced to apologize. The better frame is structure with sun, fruit with grip, polish with a savory edge. In 2026, South Africa remains one of the strongest quality-to-price conversations in Cabernet, even if the export market is not frictionless. Australia is where we have to stop saying Australian Cabernet like it means one thing. Coonawarra, in South Australia, is famous for Terra Rosa, red soil over limestone. It is a cooler, maritime-influenced Cabernet region known for cassis, blackberry, plum, dark cherry, firm tannin, ageability, and often a mint or eucalyptus note. Then there is Margaret River in Western Australia, where ocean moderation is the main character. Cabernet there can feel balanced, aromatic, and Bordeaux-adjacent in dry years, with ripeness and acidity held together by maritime influence. So no, Australia is not just hot, jammy Cabernet. That is a lazy take, and lazy takes are how good bottles end up underpriced. Cabernet is powerful, but power alone is not harmony. That is why blending matters. Cabernet is the steel beam. Merlot is the upholstery. Cabernet Franc is the perfume and nerve. Petit Verdot is the bass note. Blending is not cheating. It is how a winemaker turns climate variation into balance. Oak is misunderstood too. Oak is not seasoning. Oak is controlled oxygen with a flavor side effect. New oak can bring vanilla, toast, cedar, spice, coconut, coffee, or smoke. But barrels also allow slow oxygen exchange, helping tannins integrate and moving the wine from raw fruit towards something more complex. Good oak frames. Cabernet. Bad oak makes it taste like a furniture showroom. Alcohol is simpler. Sunlight helps grapes build sugar. Yeast converts sugar into alcohol. Alcohol brings body and warmth, but without acidity and tannin, it can feel heavy. The issue is not the number. The issue is balance. In 2026, the wine world is not floating on effortless demand. OIV reporting shows global consumption under pressure. Fine wine has shown signs of stabilization, but not a magical recovery. Buyers are selective. That changes how Cabernet should be bought. Napa remains prestigious and expensive, but the broader U.S. wine market is challenging. Bordeaux, especially outside the most famous names, can be a real opportunity, not because Bordeaux is dead, but because softer demand can expose value. South Africa remains a compelling quality-to-price story. Australia is recovering from the China market shock, but the recovery is complicated, and regions like Coonawarra and Margaret River still deserve attention on their own merits. Climate volatility is also part of the bottle now. Earlier harvests, heat events, water stress, canopy choices, freshness decisions, and alcohol balance. Cabernet is a grape, yes, but in 2026, it is also a record of climate, market pressure, and human decision-making. So come back to the four glasses: Bordeaux, structure, weather, gravel, blending, cedar, tobacco, graphite, and restraint. Napa, sunlight, ripeness, polish, plush tannin, luxury economics, and producer choice. South Africa, mountain, coast, dark fruit, savory lift, structure, and serious value. Australia, terra rossa, mint, cassis, ocean moderation, and the reminder that an entire country is not one flavor. Same grape, completely different personalities. Cabernet Sauvignon does not just tell you what grape it is. It tells you how it grew, how much sun it saw, how cool the nights were, how the canopy was managed, and whether the winemaker wanted elegance or power. Every bottle is really a story about place. Stop buying Cabernet by grape. Start buying Cabernet by region.